Hey, Flo here. Found a really cool spot for live streaming. Feels like it's made for content creation. Just the perfect shade, perfect. I got like sit-stand desks naturally made here. It's just perfect. So I couldn't resist doing another reading here. Let me not forget to do. I like to do at least one test message. Of course, somehow I didn't close that. It's odd. Why isn't that working? Okay, there it goes. Nice place to sit over there, but probably not very stable ground. Looks pretty squishy. I think I'm actually going to do at least 2 readings from this spot, unless I just run out of steam or something, but the conditions are so perfect that I feel like I got to take advantage of it. If I had a place like this closer to where I live, I would just come out here every day because it's quite literally the best spot for live streaming I've ever seen. I think just because of the layout of the stuff. I can put all my gear up on these tables that are like, well, they were huge boulders, but they're like perfectly flat on top and set up just for my gear. It's just amazingly perfect. Okay, but the only challenge is sneaking by my tripod here, so I'm going to have to do a little bit of climbing to get that. I could get around it, but I don't want to mess up the angle because I had to get that set up just how I wanted. So I'll try to climb over the top. I could probably get like 6 or 7 different unique and interesting angles out of this one spot, just because it's very diverse in its appearance. All right. Yeah, I'm guessing this ground is not the firmest ever, so might sink in a bit. bring? Yeah, okay. Got my drink. Probably on a bunch of chipmunks' houses around here. Hopefully the ants don't bother me too much. I don't actually see any, but it's lots of rotten logs, which is usually where they like to be. This is so nice. Got the flowers, got butterflies all over the place. Perfect. Yeah, there's a lot of other spots here too. It's like boom, boom, boom. A bunch of different nice angles, and there's shade everywhere here because of the trees, so I can get quite a bit out of this spot if I wanted to, but I'm not going to stay here all day. Well, I mean, the day's like a good portion over anyway, so. Oh man, this is supreme. What is going on? This is perfect. Actually, my view, like what I'm looking at, is even better. Oh shoot. I keep forgetting to do this. I need to put my smart button somewhere else because I have it on my backpack, which is good when I'm hiking, but not when I'm doing stuff like this. I forgot last time I actually climbed up to that cliff where I was reading and marked my WordHike place. So sort of as punishment to myself because I forgot to bring my smart button. So now I did it again. I need to get in the habit. I used to actually carry it on my water bottle. I should probably switch back to that. Oh, man. If I could reach over and grab it without climbing all the way. Well, I guess I'm pretty much climbed all the way. Oh, wait a minute. I just noticed I see one of my microphone windscreens on the ground. Somehow I'd dropped that. Glad I saw it. I wonder if that fell off my microphone that I currently have on. That'd be weird. Nope. Not sure how that happened, but glad I saw it. I have two of them. So that's good, but I really don't want to lose one. When I lose one, then I only have one left, and then easy to lose that last one. So I don't think I've ever permanently lost gear that I can remember. Forgotten things temporarily or dropped things and then I have to go find them, but I don't remember ever losing something permanently. So far, it's bound to happen eventually though. Okay, yeah, this is an amazing spot. A asterisk, Flora. What's up? Oh man. Oh, this is perfection. Yep. Okay, let's do this before I forget again. You take a big old drink too. I probably should finish this water off and then refill it because I haven't really drinking as much as I should. It's funny. Asterisk is actually just happens to be the symbol in my map program that I use for views. And I believe flora means flowers, so That's actually kind of funny. It's a view of flowers. That's exactly what we got going on here. Perfect. Should have grabbed the Gatorade to refill this. Where am I? I am in Oregon, the U.S. West Coast. Whew. I just discovered this awesome spot. It's like made for live streaming. It has a super good signal. It's massively panoramic, beautiful view. It's in the shade. It's got all these flowers. It's more or less sheltered from the wind. It's got sit-stand desks, or I mean, just like, chest-high desks over there made of boulders that are like flat on the top, so I can set up my all my gear to get ready for the live stream. Look, it kind of feels like I'm surrounded by, like a disc jockey would set up his turntables and be like all doing his set from up here. It's just so perfect. If I remember, I'll try to get a picture of the spot where I have everything, because it's unbelievable. What time is it for me? It's like 4:30 in the afternoon. But yeah, my thing lately is I've been doing Bible readings on stream, so that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to do one in this spot, and then there's, if I just like rotate the camera without even really moving it, there's some other cool views over that way. Once again, I wish I could just put like a VR helmet on. I mean, I don't want to do that, but like I wish I had glasses that had a camera on it, because the angle that I see, I think, is even better than what the live stream shows. It's so perfect and relaxing. I should see if I could get like a first-person perspective photo with my 1:30 a.m. for you. I have no idea where that would put you, but most of the people that come by my stream who aren't from the US are either from UK or Australia, so if I had to guess, just without thinking much about it, that would be I would guess the UK, just for fun. I don't know. Really don't know, but okay, I want to see if I can capture this angle. It's super cool. It's like, this is where I'm sitting. Yeah, it's so perfect. I could just sit here. Like, I don't really care if I do anything, because it's so nice. Germany, nice. I don't know if I've ever had anybody in my streams from Germany, that at least that has told me that they're from Germany. Very cool. Technically, you could say I'm from Germany, have lots of German ancestry, I guess. But I'm a mix. I'm a pretty big mix of various heritage. Also got Polish and Irish, I think, and who knows what else. Man, I bet you'd probably sleep here. You could definitely... Oh, these trees, I don't know if these trees are spaced quite right. Probably. You could set up a hammock here. Can you imagine? That would be ridiculous. I actually have a hammock I could bring up here. That would be amazing. I should try that sometime. That would be fun. You do a hammock stream. That'd be kind of fun, just sitting in the hammock, Be a lot of work though, a lot of setup just to do that. Actually, I have a friend that used to do that though, ages ago. Man, that's ancient history. Narrow Path, when I first met him on D Live, he was one of his first streams that I saw him do. He was sitting in a hammock overlooking a river or something like that. I forgot about that until just now. It's pretty cool. The view reminds me a bit of when I was in Poland. Cool. But there's a lot of outdoor amazing stuff. I'm subscribed to a few creators on YouTube that go on hikes in Europe. I can't remember which countries, to be honest. Let's see. Man, I can't remember the names of any of them either. I think Nate the intern is from UK, but he goes all over the place. I think that's his name. But then there's this guy, I can't remember where he's from, man. Probably Italy, if I had to guess. But anyway, he does a lot of hikes in the mountains over there. Amazing stuff. I think most people want to go to Europe for like all the historical stuff and touristy destinations and landmarks and stuff. But I think I would want to I guess I would like to see all that as well, but I would be more interested in going on a bunch of amazing hikes. No, I've never been to Europe. I wish. I'm pretty poor. I can't afford to travel. I've actually been on a couple trips earlier in life. These days I don't have any money for luxuries like that. It's actually very expensive for us to go there too, because the euro is very high against the dollar, I guess, however you say that. Yeah, it's very expensive traveling for us. I actually know a lot of people that have been there though. But they have better financial scenarios than me, that's for sure. Oh man, I'm just content to sit here and do nothing. Which is not normal for me. I don't usually like to do that, but this spot is so perfect that it's quite satisfying just to sit here and look at stuff. But yeah, when I was younger, in my 20s, I don't remember how old I was. I think I was in my 20s. I went to Brazil, and then I've also been to Peru, and technically you could say I've been to Mexico and Canada, but it barely counts because I just barely did much. I guess I've done more in Canada than I have in Mexico. But then most recently I went to Indonesia, and that was pretty cool. Most of that was, or at least, yeah, a lot of that was related to family stuff and church stuff. Not really like tourism or anything. I think I'm still thirsty. I should probably refill this. Thinking about doing an exchange year in Canada soon. That'd be cool. I wish that was, man, if that was an option. Actually, I probably would not have even considered. I didn't know what life was about when I was young. But now that I see how it's hard to travel and blah, 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 expensive this, expensive that. If I would have known about opportunities like that when I was younger, like in some kind of exchange thing, man, that would be... knowing what I know now about life and how rare it is to get to do cool stuff, especially when you get older and life kind of fills up with responsibilities and expenses and just stuff. I totally would have wanted to do that kind of thing back when it was possible. That would be amazing. But I'll just be in 25,000 debt. Yeah, if you're that's the thing about school. I'm assuming you're talking about college or something. Yeah, school is expensive. I never actually went to college because of that. I didn't get any financial aid. I actually had really good grades in high school, but when I applied for financial aid and grants and scholarships and all that kind of stuff, I didn't get anything. So I just thought, no way, I can't afford this. I didn't want to go into debt, and I don't know if I ever would have paid it off because I didn't really have a career that I was thinking to do, so I probably would have just taken a bunch of random classes with no specific direction in mind. And then I'd just have all that debt. Be just... Anyway. But these days, I mean, 25,000, at least in the U.S., I mean, it's a lot of money, but at the same time, school is crazy expensive, so it's not that ridiculous. But yeah, I just, I don't know, the pressure of paying all that off and having a loan with interest. I've always tried to stay debt-free. Currently, I'm in debt because I have been unemployed for a long time and don't have any money, but before that, I avoided debt like a plague. But it somehow always catches up. Don't make me afraid of grown-up man. Hey, yeah, well, I may not be the right person to talk to if you want encouragement, because my life is kind of a mess. But honestly, what I can say for you, probably almost without variation or exception, is pretty sure your life will turn out better than mine. Mine just didn't really go the direction I thought it would in pretty much every regard. But everyone else I know, pretty much, they're doing just fine. So don't worry about it. You'll be good. You'll be fine. I'm sure. It's not a promise, but just the odds are in your favor, in my opinion. Just didn't work out for me so well. Not that it's over for me, it could take a change for the better, but it's been a struggle. I'll just put it that way. Yep. But yeah, if you can avoid growing up and just remain young, if you figure that out, that's a good way to go. Nah, it does. It's the thing is, like, when you're young, those years last a long time. Like you do so many different things. You have so many friends and go all the places and stuff. So cherish those years, because when you get older, like the time just starts flying. Like the last 10 years for me have just like flown by like nothing. It's crazy. Okay, I think I'm gonna get a refill on my drink before I just dropped my smart button. Let's see if I can reach that without. I have a whole of 2 friends. Well, if they're good, that's all that matters, honestly. I'd rather have 2 good friends than 50 acquaintances or fake friends. And I'm kind of blessed with the same way. I have 3 really good friends from the past. I actually have a bunch of friends at various levels, people I've worked with, people I've gone to church with and stuff, but most of them kind of faded out of my contact. So, but the three that I've had just continually throughout pretty much all my life, they're the best friends a person could ask for. But, then I have a few other friends in various levels of connection that I talk to maybe once a year or whatever. And that's still cool too. Okay, trying to grab my drink. But yeah, that'll change. Just because you have two now doesn't mean that's what you're gonna always have. You'll meet people, like if you do that exchange thing, you'll meet people in Canada or people from other countries that also did the exchange. And yeah, when you get jobs, you'll meet people that you like from those places. Yep. I've gone through tons of seasons. There's been seasons when I've had lots of friends, like I've gone to churches that I've had a bunch of friends. But then unfortunately, as soon as you stop going to a school or a church or live in a city, you move away or do something different, typically most people aren't that good at keeping in contact over distance. But anyway, right now I don't really have friends in the sense, like, practically speaking, I have nobody to like hang out with and do stuff with, because I used to live in the city and I moved away, and I haven't really made friends in the new place. I've tried, like I've hung out with a couple people that I've met. I don't know, it just doesn't seem to really gain traction. But whatever. Yeah, when you get old like me, it's harder to make friends. You gotta make them when you're younger. Hey, Art Deco, thanks for the follow. All right. Yeah, I'm just going to sit here for a bit and get some more hydration going on, and then I'll do Bible reading. Oh, this is so perfect. I can't believe it. It's amazing. I don't even need my hat on at this point. Like, there's so much nice shade. Of course, the sun could change. It's not really that. There's just that one tree that's kind of protecting me right now. Where the camera over there is, though, there's tons of shade. I don't visit church that often. The one very religious friend I had told me she only hangs out with me because she has no other option. Dang, that's harsh. I guess at least they're honest, but I wouldn't want to hang out with somebody that says that. That's lame. Sounds lame. But I do like honest people, though. Like, I'd rather have somebody tell me that than have me not really know what they think about me. But that's brutal. Wow. I don't think I've ever felt that way about somebody. Maybe it's kind of true at certain times. Like right now, I don't really have any friends. So if I had a friend, I would be like, I guess, I don't think I would think that, though. I think I would just be thankful to have a friend, Doesn't matter if they're not the best friend I've ever had. It's just nice to have some kind of company, or I don't know. It's nice to have somebody that you have something in common with, like activities that you like to do. Like a hiking friend would be really nice. Back when I was younger, like stuff like watching movies and playing video games is more what I like to do. Some the friends that I had from when I was younger, that's mostly what we did when we got together. But these days, I'd rather be outdoors doing something. But yeah. Yeah, church is a good place to meet people, but honestly, I don't know. You have to find a church where people actually give a rip. I mean, a lot of people just go to church every Sunday because it's kind of a thing that they feel like they're supposed to do or whatever, but then they don't really reach out to newcomers. And like, that's what I've been struggling with. The church I tried to go to recently, actually all the churches I've tried to go to here where I live, the general area, they all don't really help me fit in. And I'm not an outgoing person, so if they don't make the majority of effort to kind of make me feel welcome, it's probably not going to happen very easily. Because I'm very introverted, and I'm also just I'm very quiet, and I even have like social anxiety. I don't like being in the crowd really. So like if I was to meet up with somebody from the church one-on-one, I'd be totally fine. But when I've gone to the church, I just feel like, ugh, I just want to sit in the corner and disappear. And so it's really hard to connect, and if nobody reaches out, it's just not going to happen. So yeah, it hasn't gone very well for me. There's only old people at mine. I know, same here. Sadly, I mean, some people just don't even care. The majority of people don't care anymore. But to me, it's sad to see a lot of churches dying because there's nothing appealing for the younger people, and so it's a bunch of old people. And then when a somewhat younger person goes there, even myself, I'm kind of old, but I feel younger than everybody at church. So I feel that same thing. Like I go there and I'm like, wow, this is like a retirement home or a nursing home or something, which is fine. Like there's nothing wrong with old people. They're great. They can be really great people to get to know, and they have a lot of wisdom and everything. But you got to have some peers too. People who can relate to your life situation, and it's very unlikely to find like old people that want to do the same kind of activities, so it's hard to find people to connect with. Yeah, I totally get it. I've had the same issue here. It's hard. Go for a moment. I'm gonna go look up what American churches look like. Okay, no worries. Yeah, I mean, there's huge churches. Like there's a big church around here that has lots of people, but then because it's so huge, I feel uncomfortable there. So I prefer small churches, but unfortunately, most of the small churches just have a few old people, and that's about it. So I understand why a lot of people flock to the big churches, because they want to feel like it's more alive and something's happening there, and not just be in a place that's kind of depressing and just a bunch of old people that are just trying to finish their life, in comfort and not get too shocked by anything, So it's I understand both perspectives. Probably when I get super old, I'm not going to want to do anything adventurous or get challenged or reach out. I don't know. Hopefully I'll be different when I'm older, but probably not. I'll probably be just like everybody else. I am kind of old already, so whatever. Anyway. Back noise. Yeah, every church is different though. I mean, like, I've been to a lot of churches in my time. I pretty much, most of my life I've gone to church, but like for the last, oh man, it's been actually quite a few years that I haven't been like super regular. Kind of been on and off for the last few years. So I haven't really found a place that I feel like I'm part of anything. I just go and then I'm just sitting there listening to a sermon and singing some songs, and then I go home and I'm not really connecting with anybody. And it's kind of hard to feel motivated. But that's not an excuse not to go. I've just been struggling with it. I've actually been praying about it recently, like asking God what He wants me to do in regard to church stuff. I don't know. There is no perfect church though. Like every church is pretty messed up because it's just a bunch of people like you and me. I mean, I'm not perfect. I'm probably worse than everybody else there, to be perfectly honest. I'm not better at anything than those people are. And so for me to expect them to do something that I don't do, that's just stupid. That's just not reasonable. So I don't condemn the people for not living up to some expectation, but it's still hard. I'm a human being. I struggle to connect, and I don't know, whatever. It would be nice to find us a place with families and maybe people my age or something, but when you live out in the country or in a small town, you don't have so many options. Not to be rude, but you guys, churches don't stand a chance against German ones. Oh, I don't know. I mean, I don't take it personally or anything. That could be true. I've never been to a German church, obviously, nor do I know what that means. But I don't think it's a competition. But yeah, the churches, well, for me, it's not about like what churches look like. Maybe you're talking about the beauty of the stone buildings and the stained glass and statues and stuff like that. But for me, none of that really matters. It's more about, what's actually going on inside with the people and connecting with God and all that kind of stuff. But I don't know. Anyway, I concede the victory to you and your German churches. I don't really care who wins. It's funny though. Can you look up German churches? Not really easily here, but perhaps another time. But the thing is, you can't really judge a church by appearances. Like you'd have to like go there and experience and feel what happens there. Because if it's all about Google image searches, then we got a serious problem. Because that's not what church is supposed to be about. All right. Anyway, I'm going to do a Bible reading. That's kind of why I'm here today. I'm actually reading through the whole Bible this year. I tried it last year, and then I got distracted because I wanted to have like a way to show the verses on screen while I'm reading. And I got that working finally this year. I actually asked AI to write me a script because I probably could have eventually figured it out, but I can't really write code anymore. I used to do that, but it's not my thing anymore. I don't often talk to people when I go to church. I love to just sit there and look at everything in every detail first before praying. Gotcha. That's cool. Yeah, for me, I guess I used to care more about like the music and the message and stuff, but these days I just want a family, a community, like I just want to connect with people and do stuff, have friends, and even do service projects or stuff like that together, whatever, because I've done a lot of that in the past, but yeah, it's been tough. I guess I've sort of lost my social skills as a big part of it. I just struggle to connect with people. I'm like Captain Awkward times 1,000, and I don't put that problem on anyone else. That's just my own issue, I guess. I have to work through somehow. I can't even remember what I was reading. I think I have it. Actually, or I think I already loaded it. Hopefully I have the scriptures on the right side. I mean, on the left side. We'll find out. This is I actually struggle a little bit with some of these readings. Like I'm in Leviticus, which Leviticus and Numbers, I think, are some of the hardest books to read in the Bible. And then there's like Chronicles. Actually, Chronicles is interesting because it's a bunch of stories, but it also has like, I think that's where some of the genealogies are, which are kind of boring to read, especially out loud. Like on my live streams, it's like hard to get through all the names. But yeah, the Leviticus stuff is like all the sacrifices and stuff, which I don't fully understand. I wish I understood it better, but I read it anyway. Basically my vision is to have the whole Bible read outdoors in beautiful locations. And then after these live streams are over, I split up just the chapters that I read into short videos, and I post those to my second channel. I'm way behind because YouTube has a limit on how many videos you can upload per day, so I'm like weeks behind. But eventually they'll get posted, and then the whole entire Bible will be on there, which should be cool. Anyway, I'm just going to hope my English is okay enough to understand. I mean, it's 100% perfect. If you didn't say that you were from Germany, I would have no idea that you were not a native speaker. I don't know if you're using like any kind of AI or translation help, or you're just writing out of your mind. If you're writing out of your own ability, your English is extremely good. I wouldn't have noticed anything unusual at all. So, congratulations, if that's what you were looking for. Your English is very good. All right, so here we go. So the way this works, when I'm doing Bible readings, I read a chapter and then I check to see if anybody's typed in chat. So I won't be watching chat while I'm reading. So just so anybody knows. Normally nobody watches these live streams, so I don't have anybody to talk to. It's pretty rare. You're the first person that's dropped by in a couple days. Yeah, so I appreciate it. It's good to have somebody to chat with. So, but I also understand people get bored with this kind of stuff and they've got other things to do. So if you take off, well, I won't be offended. All right, here we go. Thanks. Yep. Good English. Perfect. All right. Leviticus chapter 8. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Take Aaron and his sons, their garments, the anointing oil, the bowl of the sin offering, the 2 rams, and the basket of unleavened bread, and assemble the whole congregation at the entrance to the tent of meeting. So Moses did as the Lord had commanded him, and the assembly gathered at the entrance to the tent of meeting. And Moses said to them, "This is what the Lord has commanded to be done." Then Moses presented Aaron and his sons and washed them with water. He put the tunic on Aaron, tied the sash around him, clothed him with the robe, and put the ephod on him. He tied the woven band of the ephod around him and fastened it to him. Then he put the breastpiece on him and placed the Urim and the Thummim in the breastpiece. Moses also put the turban on Aaron's head and set the gold plate, the holy diadem, on the front of the turban as the Lord had commanded him. Next Moses took the anointing oil and anointed the tabernacle and everything in it, and so he consecrated them. He sprinkled some of the oil on the altar 7 times, anointing the altar and all its utensils, and the basin with its stand, to consecrate them. He also poured some of the anointing oil on Aaron's head and anointed him to consecrate him. Then Moses presented Aaron's sons, put tunics on them, wrapped sashes around them, and tied headbands on them, just as the Lord had commanded him. Moses then brought the bowl near for the sin offering, and Aaron and his sons laid their hands on its head. Moses slaughtered the bull, took some of the blood, and applied it with his fingers to all 4 horns of the altar, purifying the altar. He poured out the rest of the blood at the base of the altar and consecrated it so that atonement could be made on it. Moses also took all the fat that was on the entrails, the lobe of the liver, and both kidneys, and their fat, and burned it all on the altar. But the bull with its hide, flesh, and dung he burned outside the camp, as the Lord had commanded him. Then Moses presented the ram for the burnt offering, and Aaron and his sons laid their hands on its head. Moses slaughtered the ram and sprinkled the blood on all sides of the altar. He cut the ram into pieces and burned the head, the pieces, and the fat. He washed the entrails and legs with water and burned the entire ram on the altar as a burnt offering, a pleasing aroma, an offering made by fire to the Lord, just as the Lord had commanded Moses. After that, Moses presented the other ram, the ram of ordination, and Aaron and his sons laid their hands on its head. Moses slaughtered the ram and took some of its blood and put it on Aaron's right earlobe, on the thumb of his right hand, and on the big toe of his right foot. Moses also presented Aaron's sons and put some of the blood on their right earlobes, on the thumbs of their right hands, and on the big toes of their right feet. Then he sprinkled the blood on all sides of the altar. And Moses took the fat tail, all the fat that was on the entrails, the lobe of the liver, and both kidneys with their fat, as well as the right thigh. And from the basket of unleavened bread that was before the Lord, he took 1 cake of unleavened bread, 1 cake of bread made with oil, and 1 wafer, and he placed them on the fat portions and on the right thigh. He put all these in the hands of Aaron and his sons, and waved them before the Lord as a wave offering. Then Moses took these from their hands and burned them on the altar with the burnt offering. This was an ordination offering, a pleasing aroma, an offering made by fire to the Lord. He also took the breast, Moses' portion of the ram of ordination, and waved it before the Lord as a wave offering, as the Lord had commanded him. Next Moses took some of the anointing oil and some of the blood that was on the altar, and sprinkled them on Aaron and his garments, and on his sons and their garments. So he consecrated Aaron and his garments, as well as Aaron's sons and their garments. And Moses said to Aaron and his sons, "Boil the meat at the entrance to the tent of meeting, and eat it there with the bread that is in the basket of ordination offerings, as I commanded, saying, Aaron and his sons are to eat it. Then you must burn up the remainder of the meat and bread. You must not go outside the entrance to the tent of meeting for 7 days, until the days of your ordination are complete, for it will take 7 days to ordain you. What has been done today has been commanded by the Lord in order to make atonement on your behalf. You must remain at the entrance to the tent of meeting day and night for 7 days, and keep the Lord's charge so that you will not die, for this is what I have been commanded." So Aaron and his sons did everything the Lord had commanded through Moses. think the butterflies have gotten used to my presence, so they're pretty close to me. It's kind of cool. Whew, I can't always stay awake until 2 a.m., but I can try to show up every now and then. Oh yeah, no worries. I do, it's pretty random. I have no schedule. And so no, certainly don't feel obligated to stay up late just to watch this. But I enjoy the company, but yep. Do what you enjoy with your life and your time. And I do appreciate you dropping by, and whether I see you again or not, I pray that the Lord blesses you in your life and all the many choices that you have before you, and so many things to do, so many things to experience, so many people to meet. I hope you figure out what kind of job, career you want to do, all that stuff. It's a lot of stuff to figure out. I haven't even figured out my life yet. I actually had a career at one time. About to fall asleep, I think. No worries. Hey, Tro. Or Trow, I don't know. Tro over on, I can't tell if that's Kick or Beam because the icon is the same. Because I'm using a multi-stream app thingy. But maybe I will talk you to sleep. Look at all the cute little butterflies. If I can get one to land on my hand, they probably don't really have any reason to do that. If I had like a really bright colored glove on or something, they probably would think it's a flower and land. There's this other kind of butterfly that we've had recently that they were landing all over me on a recent hike that I did. It's kind of fun. I just had like 3 on my arm, and they were just like, I think they were looking for moisture or something. Okay, let's go on to the next chapter. Leviticus chapter 9. On the 8th day, Moses summoned Aaron and his sons and the elders of Israel. He said to Aaron, "Take for yourself a young bull for a sin offering and a ram for a burnt offering, both without blemish, and present them before the Lord. Then speak to the Israelites and say, Take a male goat for a sin offering, a calf and a lamb, both a year old and without blemish, for a burnt offering, an ox and a ram for a peace offering to sacrifice before the Lord, and a grain offering mixed with oil. For today the Lord will appear to you." So they took what Moses had commanded to the front of the tent of meeting, and the whole congregation drew near and stood before the Lord. And Moses said, "This is what the Lord has commanded you to do, so that the glory of the Lord may appear to you." Then Moses said to Aaron, "Approach the altar and sacrifice your sin offering and your burnt offering to make atonement for yourself and for the people. And sacrifice the people's offering to make atonement for them, as the Lord has commanded." So Aaron approached the altar and slaughtered the calf as a sin offering for himself. The sons of Aaron brought the blood to him, and he dipped his finger in the blood and applied it to the horns of the altar. And he poured out the rest of the blood at the base of the altar. On the altar he burned the fat, the kidneys, and the lobe of the liver from the sin offering, as the Lord had commanded Moses. But he burned up the flesh and the hide outside the camp. Then Aaron slaughtered the burnt offering. His sons brought him the blood, and he sprinkled it on all sides of the altar. They brought him the burnt offering piece by piece, including the head, and he burned them on the altar. He washed the entrails and the legs and burned them atop the burnt offering on the altar. Aaron then presented the people's offering. He took the male goat for the people's sin offering, slaughtered it, and offered it for sin like the first one. He presented the burnt offering and offered it according to the ordinance. Next he presented the grain offering, took a handful of it, and burned it on the altar in addition to the morning's burnt offering. Then he slaughtered the ox and the ram as the people's peace offering. His sons brought him the blood, and he sprinkled it on all sides of the altar. They also brought the fat portions from the ox and the ram, the fat tail, the fat covering the entrails, the kidneys, and the lobe of the liver, and placed these on the breasts. Aaron burned the fat portions on the altar, but he waved the breasts and the right thigh as a wave offering before the Lord, as Moses had commanded. Aaron lifted up his hands toward the people and blessed them, and having made the sin offering, the burnt offering, and the peace offering, he stepped down. Moses and Aaron then entered the tent of meeting. When they came out, they blessed the people, and the glory of the Lord appeared to all the people. Fire came out from the presence of the Lord and consumed the burnt offering and the fat portions on the altar. And when all the people saw it, they shouted for joy and fell face down. That's my favorite part so far, that's for sure. That's cool. It's just, I don't know. I'm always seeking. I mean, I'm not like an experiential Christian where I need like, big experiences and stuff. Like, I know God doesn't just show up typically and do all these amazing, miraculous things at church and stuff, but I really do want to know him and to connect with him. So in that sense, I am seeking some kind of, way of feeling connected with him. And the best way I know how to do that is by reading the Bible and prayer and stuff like that. And even one of the things that's helped me a lot through the years, especially recently, is being out here in nature and seeing all this beautiful stuff that he's made, and I feel more connected with him in those times. Like right now, I feel very at peace and just relaxed and hopeful that his presence is here, that his spirit is making his word come alive to us, etc. But yeah, when I read that part, I'm like, oh yeah, that would be so awesome just to experience God's presence in that way. Like, there's times when you kind of don't want to experience God's presence when he's like angry, like, I like to hear that the people rejoiced, it's like, yeah, they're like celebrating God is here. This is so awesome. Even though something that just kind of fearful just happened, like he appeared and like all of this burning fire came out from where he was and burned up the sacrifice. It's kind of a scary thing, but just getting to experience something with the presence of God is awesome. It's definitely what I want to experience, just his presence in my life. Not necessarily in some crazy visual way, because I really don't expect that, but I want to feel close to him. There's a ton of these white butterflies. Alright, got one more chapter in Leviticus and then John chapter 8, which looks like a pretty big one. I like this little dead branch here. It has a cool outline. I don't know if that shows up in the stream, but you got all these yellow flowers and then you got that kind of dead branch there. It's just it has a cool shape. I would make a nice photo. Just, I don't know. I used to do more with photography, but these days I don't really care anymore. I try to take a few photos on the hikes just to remember. But I rarely even look at them, so I don't know if I care that much anymore. Take a drink. I'm gonna go now. It's really nice to meet you. Yeah, same asterisk. Flora, I don't know which you prefer, but thank you for dropping by. I appreciate it. It's the best conversation I've had in a long time. So I know that sounds, it sounds weird because just you and I are two random people on the internet having a casual conversation, but I'm pretty alone in life right now, so I don't get to have very many conversations. So it's very much appreciated. You're special, and I believe God loves you and has you under his watch and care, and I hope that things go well for you in life. But thanks for dropping by. Have a nice night. All right. Leviticus chapter 10. Now Aaron's sons Nadab and Abihu took their censers, put fire in them, and added incense, and offered unauthorized fire before the Lord, contrary to his command. So fire came out from the presence of the Lord and consumed them, and they died in the presence of the Lord. Then Moses said to Aaron, "This is what the Lord meant when he said, 'To those who come near me I will show my holiness, and in the sight of all the people I will reveal my glory.'" But Aaron remained silent. Moses summoned Mishael and Elzaphan, sons of Aaron's uncle Uzziel, and said to them, "Come here, carry the bodies of your cousins outside the camp, away from the front of the sanctuary." So they came forward and carried them, still in their tunics, outside the camp, as Moses had directed. Then Moses said to Aaron and his sons Eleazar and Ithamar, "Do not let your hair become disheveled, and do not tear your garments, or else you will die, and the Lord will be angry with the whole congregation. But your brothers, the whole house of Israel, may mourn on account of the fire that the Lord has ignited. You shall not go outside the entrance to the tent of meeting, or you will die, for the Lord's anointing oil is on you." So they did as Moses instructed. Then the Lord said to Aaron, "You and your sons are not to drink wine or strong drink when you enter the tent of meeting, or else you will die. This is a permanent statute for the generations to come. You must distinguish between the holy and the common, between the clean and the unclean, so that you may teach the Israelites all the statutes that the Lord has given them through Moses." And Moses said to Aaron and his remaining sons, Eleazar and Ithamar, "Take the grain offering that remains from the offerings made by fire to the Lord, and eat it without leaven beside the altar, because it is most holy. You shall eat it in a holy place, because it is your share and your son's share of the offerings made by fire to the Lord. For this is what I have been commanded. And you and your sons and daughters may eat the breast of the wave offering and the thigh of the contribution in a ceremonially clean place, because these portions have been assigned to you and your children from the peace offerings of the sons of Israel. They are to bring the thigh of the contribution and the breast of the wave offering, together with the fat portions of the offerings made by fire, to wave as a wave offering before the Lord. It will belong permanently to you and your children, as the Lord has commanded." Later, Moses searched carefully for the goat of the sin offering, and behold, it had been burnt up. He was angry with Eleazar and Ithamar, Aaron's remaining sons, and asked, "Why didn't you eat the sin offering in the holy place? For it is most holy. It was given to you to take away the guilt of the congregation by making atonement for them before the Lord. Since its blood was not brought inside the holy place, you should have eaten it in the sanctuary area as I commanded." But Aaron replied to Moses, Behold, this very day they presented their sin offering and their burnt offering before the Lord. Since these things have happened to me, if I had eaten the sin offering today, would it have been acceptable in the sight of the Lord?" And when Moses heard this explanation, he was satisfied. Yeah, I forgot about that. Very next chapter, the people got to experience the presence of the Lord, and then immediately, like the very first time, Aaron's sons did something that they were not instructed and were punished. So it's a very fearful experience also. Yeah, it's just, I don't know if it's really possible to get close to God without like extreme reverence and fear, because he's so holy and like we can't see him. Like, I think that's part of the reason he doesn't show up, is because we can't look at him and live, because he's so amazing and holy and powerful and whatever, all that stuff, which is unfortunate. But thankfully, because of the sacrifices of Christ that he made for us, we are able to approach him, which is absolutely amazing. We still have to do so with reverence and fear, though, because if we're just living our lives like common, like it talks about the common and the uncommon, and the unclean and the clean, like if we're just living careless lives, not taking it seriously and sinning left and right without any conscience, I don't think it will go well with us when we try to pretend like we have a strong relationship with God and we're doing all that stuff that, he's not pleased with. So we still have to be careful with the way we live. Even though Jesus paid the price for our sins, we can't just, do whatever we want and live however we want without considering what pleases him. But it is amazing that we do have the freedom to speak to him directly, and we can pray to him directly. We don't have to go through a priest anymore. We don't have to make sacrifices of animals and stuff like that. When Jesus came on the earth and he died for our sins once for all, the curtain of the tabernacle, or the temple at that time, was torn supernaturally. There was a big earthquake, and the curtain was torn from top to bottom, and that signified that because of the work of Jesus Christ, we no longer have to go through the priests to approach him, which is pretty amazing. But yeah, still, it's not something to take lightly. Like, I think part of what I get out of these things from the Old Testament is that God is incredibly holy, probably beyond anything we can comprehend. And we should take our lives very seriously and live in a holy way as best as we can with his strength. Which in my case, if I don't have his strength, I can't do anything. I wonder if I can get a picture of this guy. He's like really close to me. Probably gonna fly away when I'm trying, but this camera isn't very good. I wish I could use the other one. They don't seem to be bothered by me anymore, though. There's lots of them now, more than before. It's cool. I like it. With that camera on that I'm using for live streaming, I can get some pretty decent photos. All right, got one more chapter to do, John. I don't know if I'm going to do another reading or not. Let's see, what time is it? 5:30? Not sure. Wanted to do as many as I could today because I know that I have limited opportunities to get out because of weather and expense of driving and stuff, so I like to take advantage of it when I'm out. But it's also kind of annoying to be so far behind on the processing of the videos. But there's really nothing I can do about that. I can't really catch up because of the limitation on how many videos I can upload. All right. John chapter 8. But Jesus went to the Mount of Olives. Early in the morning he went back into the temple courts. All the people came to him, and he sat down to teach them. The scribes and Pharisees, however, brought to him a woman caught in adultery. They made her stand before them and said, "Teacher, this woman was caught in the act of adultery. In the law of Moses commanded us." Oh, in the law, there should be a comma there. That's hard to read that way. In the law, Moses. Okay, I'm going to start over because I messed it up. John chapter 8. But Jesus went to the Mount of Olives. Early in the morning he went back into the temple courts. All the people came to him, and he sat down to teach them. The scribes and Pharisees, however, brought to him a woman caught in adultery. They made her stand before them and said, "Teacher, this woman was caught in the act of adultery. In the law, Moses commanded us to stone such a woman. So what do you say?" They said this to test him in order to have a basis for accusing him. But Jesus bent down and began to write on the ground with his finger. When they continued to question him, he straightened up and said to them, "Let him who is without sin among you be the first to cast a stone at her." And again he bent down and wrote on the ground. When they heard this, they began to go away one by one, beginning with the older ones, until only Jesus was left, with the woman standing there. Then Jesus straightened up and asked her, "Woman, where are your accusers? Has no one condemned you?" "No one, Lord," she answered. "Then neither do I condemn you," Jesus declared. "Now go and sin no more." Once again Jesus spoke to the people and said, "I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will never walk in the darkness, but will have the light of life." So the Pharisees said to him, "You are testifying about yourself. Your testimony is not valid." Jesus replied, Even if I testify about myself, my testimony is valid, because I know where I came from and where I am going. But you do not know where I came from or where I am going. You judge according to the flesh. I judge no one. But even if I do judge, my judgment is true, because I am not alone. I am with the Father who sent me. Even in your own law it is written that the testimony of 2 men is valid. I am one who testifies about myself, and the Father who sent me also testifies about me. Where is your Father? They asked him. You do not know me or my Father, Jesus answered. If you knew me, you would know my Father as well. He spoke these words while teaching in the temple courts near the treasury, yet no one seized him because his hour had not yet come. Again he said to them, I am going away, and you will look for me, but you will die in your sin. Where I am going, you cannot come. So the Jews began to ask, Will he kill himself, since he says, Where I am going, you cannot come? Then he told them, You are from below, I am from above. You are of this world, I am not of this world. That is why I told you that you would die in your sins. For unless you believe that I am he, you will die in your sins. Who are you? They asked. Just what I have been telling you from the beginning, Jesus replied. I have much to say about you and much to judge, but the one who sent me is truthful, and what I have heard from him I tell the world. They did not understand that he was telling them about the Father. So Jesus said, When you have lifted up the Son of Man, then you will know that I am he, and that I do nothing on my own, but speak exactly what the Father has taught me. He who sent me is with me. He has not left me alone, because I always do what pleases him. As Jesus spoke these things, many believed in him. So he said to the Jews who had believed him, If you continue in my word, you are truly my disciples. Then you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. We are Abraham's descendants, they answered. We have never been slaves to anyone. How can you say we will be set free? Jesus replied, Truly, truly, I tell you, everyone who sins is a slave to sin. A slave is not a permanent member of the family, but a son belongs to it forever. So if the Son sets you free, you will be free indeed. I know you are Abraham's descendants, but you are trying to kill me because my word has no place within you. I speak of what I have seen in the presence of the Father, and you do what you have heard from your father. Abraham is our father, they replied. If you were children of Abraham, said Jesus, you would do the works of Abraham. But now you are trying to kill me, a man who has told you the truth that I heard from God. Abraham never did such a thing. You are doing the works of your father. We are not illegitimate children, they declared. Our only father is God himself. Jesus said to them, If God were your father, you would love me, for I have come from God. I have not come on my own, but he sent me. Why do you not understand what I am saying? It is because you are unable to accept my message. You belong to your father, the devil, and you want to carry out his desires. He was a murderer from the beginning, refusing to uphold the truth, because there is no truth in him. When he lies, he speaks his native language, because he is a liar and the father of lies. But because I speak the truth, you do not believe me. Which of you can prove me guilty of sin? If I speak the truth, why do you not believe me? Whoever belongs to God hears the words of God. The reason you do not hear is that you do not belong to God. The Jews answered him, Are we not right to say that you are a Samaritan and you have a demon? I do not have a demon, Jesus replied, but I honor my Father and you dishonor me. I do not seek my own glory. There is one who seeks it, and he is the judge. Truly, truly, I tell you, if anyone keeps my word, he will never see death. Now we know that you have a demon, declared the Jews. Abraham died, and so did the prophets. Yet you say that anyone who keeps your word will never taste death. Are you greater than our father Abraham? He died, as did the prophets. Who do you claim to be?" Jesus answered, "If I glorify myself, my glory means nothing. The one who glorifies me is my Father, of whom you say he is our God. You do not know him, but I know him. If I said I did not know him, I would be a liar like you. But I do know him, and I keep his word. Your father Abraham rejoiced that he would see my day. He saw it and was glad." Then the Jews said to him, "You are not yet 50 years old, and you have seen Abraham?" "Truly, truly, I tell you," Jesus declared, "before Abraham was born, I am." At this they picked up stones to throw at him, but Jesus was hidden and went out of the temple area. Yep, I like John. He's the best. Yeah, the sun has moved positions a little bit, so I'm not quite in the shade like I was, but so now I have to decide if I want to do another reading. There's a nice spot out there I could sit and I could put the camera. Actually, I don't even know if I have to move the camera. Just rotate it. Let's see. How many more readings do I have for this week? I can't remember. I mean, I'm already like considerably ahead because I'm reading like whole weeks in one day. But I don't do that every day. I wish I could, honestly. But, can't remember what we just read. Which chapters? John 8, okay. Oh, nice. That's awesome. I just have one more reading for week 9. I'm definitely going to do another one. All right, but I'm going to move. There's this really cool like cliff over there that should look cool if I can get the right angle of it. So I'll try to sit out there, find a place that's safe so I'm not going to fall off the edge. I'll be in the sun over there, but it's fine. Oh, this camera's not very good. Oh, wow. Leviticus 12 is really short. That's weird. But then the other ones are not short. All right. Let's see if I can point the camera that way. And try to get around this tripod without knocking it over. Let's see, I also need to lower it, so these branches might be a problem. They're kind of hanging down lower than I'd like, but otherwise that cliff over there would be perfect. Actually, I might just move the tripod a little bit. It's not that different of an angle, I guess, than what I did before, but let's see, what would it look like? Let's do that, I guess. Could do it that way, the wider angle. That way we get the butterflies and that stuff. All right, hopefully that's, I know it's not super sturdy. Let me see if I can improve it a bit. That's pretty sturdy. See, I marked that place. I need to remember to mark this next spot. It's kind of a little bit, what's the word? Subjective, I guess, whether I mark the place where the tripod is or I mark where I'm sitting. But I think I'll continue to mark the places where I'm sitting, which is what I've been doing. Okay, butterflies. Oops. That was unintentional. I need to squeeze through here, so make way. This is a pretty awesome spot, except that I'll be in direct sunlight, but it's kind of awesome. Okay, let me see if I can delete that one accidental button press here. Alrighty. Oh yeah, I was gonna put this on my water bottle. I got annoyed with it. I used to have it on my water bottle. And I switched to putting it on my backpack just because, I don't know. I think I accidentally hit the button a bunch of times because when it's on the water bottle, it's kind of swinging around. But it's really annoying when I forget to bring it with me because I take my backpack off when I'm doing these Bible readings, and it's often far away from where I'm sitting, and then like that last time I had to climb to get it. So I'll try not to do it that way anymore. Okay, I think this will be the last reading of the day. It's kind of nice to just get a whole week done. So this reading plan I'm doing is going through the whole Bible in a year, and it has 5 readings per week so that you can have like a couple days off in case you're busy with stuff or whatever. So I've done all 5 readings for week 9 after I finish this one. So we're going to read Leviticus 11 through 13 and John chapter 9. Leviticus chapter 11. The Lord spoke again to Moses and Aaron, telling them, "Say to the Israelites, of all the beasts of the earth, these ones you may eat. You may eat any animal that has a split hoof, completely divided, and that chews the cud. But of those that only chew the cud or only have a divided hoof, you are not to eat the following. The camel, though it chews the cud, does not have a divided hoof. It is unclean for you. The rock badger, though it chews the cud, does not have a divided hoof. It is unclean for you. The rabbit, though it chews the cud, does not have a divided hoof. It is unclean for you. And the pig, though it has a split hoof completely divided, does not chew the cud. It is unclean for you. You must not eat their meat or touch their carcasses. They are unclean for you. Of all the creatures that live in the water, whether in the seas or in the streams, you may eat anything with fins and scales. But the following among all the teeming life and creatures in the water are detestable to you. Everything in the seas or streams that does not have fins and scales. They shall be an abomination to you. You must not eat their meat, and you must detest their carcasses. Everything in the water that does not have fins and scales shall be detestable to you. Additionally, you are to detest the following birds, and they must not be eaten because they are detestable: the eagle, the bearded vulture, the black vulture, the kite, any kind of falcon, any kind of raven, the ostrich, the screech owl, the gull, any kind of hawk, the little owl, the cormorant, the great owl, the white owl, the desert owl, the osprey, the stork, any kind of heron, the hoopoe, and the bat. All flying insects that walk on all fours are detestable to you. However, you may eat the following kinds of flying insects that walk on all fours: those having jointed legs above their feet for hopping on the ground. Of these you may eat any kind of locust, katydid, cricket, or grasshopper. All other flying insects that have 4 legs are detestable to you. These creatures will make you unclean. Whoever touches their carcasses will be unclean until evening. And whoever picks up one of their carcasses must wash his clothes, and he will be unclean until evening. Every animal with hooves not completely divided or that does not chew the cud is unclean for you. Whoever touches any of them will be unclean. All the 4-footed animals that walk on their paws are unclean for you. Whoever touches their carcasses will be unclean until evening. And anyone who picks up a carcass must wash his clothes, and he will be unclean until evening. They are unclean for you. The following creatures that move along the ground are unclean for you: the mole, the mouse, any kind of great lizard, the gecko, the monitor lizard, the common lizard, the skink, and the chameleon. These animals are unclean for you among all the crawling creatures. Whoever touches them when they are dead shall be unclean until evening. When one of them dies and falls on something, that article becomes unclean. Any article of wood, clothing, leather, sackcloth, or any implement used for work must be rinsed with water and will remain unclean until evening. Then it will be clean. If any of them falls into a clay pot, everything in it will be unclean. You must break the pot. Any food coming into contact with water from that pot will be unclean, and any drink in such a container will be unclean. Anything upon which one of their carcasses falls will be unclean. If it is an oven or cooking pot, it must be smashed. It is unclean and will remain unclean for you. Nevertheless, a spring or cistern containing water will remain clean, but one who touches a carcass in it will be unclean. If a carcass falls on any seed for sowing, the seed is clean. But if water has been put on the seed and a carcass falls on it, it is unclean for you. If an animal that you may eat dies, anyone who touches the carcass will be unclean until evening. Whoever eats from the carcass must wash his clothes and will be unclean until evening, and anyone who picks up the carcass must wash his clothes and will be unclean until evening. Every creature that moves along the ground is detestable. It must not be eaten. Do not eat any creature that moves along the ground, whether it crawls on its belly or walks on 4 or more feet, for such creatures are detestable. Do not defile yourselves by any crawling creature. Do not become unclean or defiled by them. For I am the Lord your God. Consecrate yourselves, therefore, and be holy, because I am holy. You must not defile yourselves by any creature that crawls along the ground. For I am the Lord who brought you up out of the land of Egypt, so that I would be your God. Therefore be holy, because I am holy. This is the law regarding animals, birds, all living creatures that move in the water, and all creatures that crawl along the ground. You must distinguish between the unclean and the clean, between animals that may be eaten and those that may not. I just realized I'm not facing the camera, which is fine, but that means that my microphone could get cut out. Hopefully it didn't get cut out. I should probably put it over here somewhere that has line of sight to the receiver thingy. Leviticus chapter 12. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Say to the Israelites, a woman who becomes pregnant and gives birth to a son will be unclean for 7 days, as she is during the days of her menstruation. And on the 8th day the flesh of a boy's foreskin is to be circumcised. The woman shall continue in purification from her bleeding for 33 days. She must not touch anything sacred or go into the sanctuary until the days of her purification are complete. If, however, she gives birth to a daughter, the woman will be unclean for 2 weeks as she is during her menstruation. Then she must continue in purification from her bleeding for 66 days. When the days of her purification are complete, whether for a son or for a daughter, she is to bring to the priest at the entrance to the tent of meeting a year-old lamb for a burnt offering and a young pigeon or a turtle dove for a sin offering. And the priest will present them before the Lord and make atonement for her, and she shall be ceremonially cleansed from her flow of blood. This is the law for a woman giving birth, whether to a male or to a female. But if she cannot afford a lamb, she shall bring 2 turtle doves or 2 young pigeons, one for a burnt offering and the other for a sin offering. Then the priest will make atonement for her, and she will be clean." Leviticus chapter 13. Then the Lord said to Moses and Aaron, "When someone has a swelling or rash or bright spot on his skin that could become an infectious skin disease, he must be brought to Aaron the priest or to one of his sons who is a priest. The priest is to examine the infection on his skin, and if the hair in the infection has turned white and the sore appears to be deeper than the skin, it is a skin disease. After the priest examines him, he must pronounce him unclean. If, however, the spot on his skin is white and does not appear to be deeper than the skin, and the hair in it has not turned white, the priest shall isolate the infected person for 7 days. On the 7th day the priest is to re-examine him, and if he sees that the infection is unchanged and has not spread on the skin, the priest must isolate him for another 7 days. The priest will examine him again on the 7th day, And if the sore has faded and has not spread on the skin, the priest shall pronounce him clean. It is a rash. The person must wash his clothes and be clean. But if the rash spreads further on his skin after he has shown himself to the priest for his cleansing, he must present himself again to the priest. The priest will re-examine him, and if the rash has spread on the skin, the priest must pronounce him unclean. He has a skin disease. When anyone develops a skin disease, he must be brought to the priest. The priest will examine him, and if there is a white swelling on the skin that has turned the hair white, and there is raw flesh in the swelling, it is a chronic skin disease, and the priest must pronounce him unclean. He need not isolate him, for he is unclean. But if the skin disease breaks out all over his skin, so that it covers all the skin of the infected person from head to foot, as far as the priest can see, the priest shall examine him, and if the disease has covered his entire body, he is to pronounce the infected person clean. Since it has all turned white, he is clean. But whenever raw flesh appears on someone, he will be unclean. When the priest sees the raw flesh, he must pronounce him unclean. The raw flesh is unclean, it is a skin disease. But if the raw flesh changes and turns white, he must go to the priest. The priest will re-examine him, and if the infection has turned white, the priest is to pronounce the infected person clean. Then he is clean. When a boil appears on someone's skin and it heals, and a white swelling or a reddish-white spot develops where the boil was, he must present himself to the priest. The priest shall examine it, and if it appears to be beneath the skin and the hair in it has turned white, the priest shall pronounce him unclean. It is a diseased infection that has broken out in the boil. But when the priest examines it, if there is no white hair in it, and it is not beneath the skin and has faded, the priest shall isolate him for 7 days. If it spreads any further on the skin, the priest must pronounce him unclean. It is an infection. But if the spot remains unchanged and does not spread, it is only the scar from the boil, and the priest shall pronounce him clean. When there is a burn on someone's skin and the raw area of the burn becomes reddish white or white, the priest must examine it. If the hair in the spot has turned white and the spot appears to be deeper than the skin, it is a disease that has broken out in the burn. The priest must pronounce him unclean. It is a diseased infection. But if the priest examines it and there is no white hair in the spot, and it is not beneath the skin but has faded, the priest shall isolate him for 7 days. On the 7th day the priest is to re-examine him, and if it has spread further on the skin, the priest must pronounce him unclean. It is a diseased infection. But if the spot is unchanged and has not spread on the skin but has faded, it is a swelling from the burn, and the priest is to pronounce him clean, for it is only the scar from the burn. If a man or woman has an infection on the head or chin, the priest shall examine the infection, and if it appears to be deeper than the skin and the hair in it is yellow and thin, the priest must pronounce him unclean. It is a scaly outbreak, an infectious disease of the head or chin. But if the priest examines the scaly infection and it does not appear to be deeper than the skin, and there is no black hair in it, the priest shall isolate the infected person for 7 days. On the 7th day, the priest is to re-examine the infection, and if the scaly outbreak has not spread and there is no yellow hair in it, and it does not appear to be deeper than the skin, then the person must shave himself except for the scaly area. Then the priest shall isolate him for another 7 days. On the 7th day the priest shall examine the scaly outbreak, and if it has not spread on the skin and does not appear to be deeper than the skin, the priest is to pronounce him clean. He must wash his clothes, and he will be clean. If, however, the scaly outbreak spreads further on the skin after his cleansing, the priest is to examine him, and if the scaly outbreak has spread on the skin, the priest need not look for yellow hair. The person is unclean. If, however, in his sight the scaly outbreak is unchanged and black hair has grown in it, then it has healed. He is clean, and the priest is to pronounce him clean. When a man or a woman has white spots on the skin, the priest shall examine them, and if the spots are dull white, it is a harmless rash that has broken out on the skin. The person is clean. Now, if a man loses his hair and is bald, he is still clean. Or if his hairline recedes and he is bald on his forehead, he is still clean. But if there is a reddish white sore on the bald head or forehead, it is an infectious disease breaking out on it. The priest is to examine him, and if the swelling of the infection on his bald head or forehead is reddish white, like a skin disease, the man is diseased, he is unclean. The priest must pronounce him unclean because of the infection on his head. A diseased person must wear torn clothes and let his hair hang loose, and he must cover his mouth and cry out, "Unclean, unclean." As long as he has the infection, he remains unclean. He must live alone in a place outside the camp. If any fabric is contaminated with mildew, any wool or linen garment, any weave or knit of linen or wool, or any article of leather, and if the mark in the fabric, leather, weave, knit, or leather article is green or red, then it is contaminated with mildew and must be shown to the priest. And the priest is to examine the mildew and isolate the contaminated fabric for 7 days. On the 7th day the priest shall re-examine it, and if the mildew has spread in the fabric, weave, knit, or leather, then regardless of how it is used, it is a harmful mildew, the article is unclean. He is to burn the fabric, weave, or knit, whether the contaminated item is wool or linen or leather. Since the mildew is harmful, the article must be burned up. But when the priest re-examines it, if the mildew has not spread in the fabric, weave, knit, or leather article, the priest is to order the contaminated article to be washed and isolated for another 7 days. After it has been washed, the priest is to re-examine it, and if the mildewed article has not changed in appearance, it is unclean. Even though the mildew has not spread, you must burn it, whether the rot is on the front or the back. If the priest examines it and the mildew has faded after it has been washed, he must cut the contaminated section out of the fabric, leather, weave, or knit. But if it reappears in the fabric, weave, or knit, or on any leather article, it is spreading. You must burn the contaminated article. If the mildew disappears from the fabric, weave, or knit, or any leather article after washing, then it is to be washed again, and it will be clean. This is the law concerning a mildew contamination in wool or linen fabric, weave or knit, or any leather article, for pronouncing it clean or unclean. Alright, one more chapter left. I'll probably head down after this. I mean, I could keep hiking and exploring and stuff, but I don't know, we'll see. It is cooling off a little bit. I might actually go to the summit of this thing. I don't know. I'll decide after I'm done. Just look around and see what I want to do. It's quite a long distance to get to the top from here, so I'm not really that high up at this point, so it would be a significant hike to get up. So, and I've done it a bunch of times. This is one of my favorite places to come, so I've hiked this quite a few times. So I don't feel like I'm terribly missing out. The main thing is that I do all these really short hikes and don't feel like I've done a lot of exercise or activity, but that's all right. It's still fun, and I'm getting some exercise at least. One of these days I'll have to just do some hikes, not necessarily for Bible readings, but there's some places where I hike where there's no signal at all, so in those circumstances I just hike purely for the enjoyment or challenge, exercise, etc. Lately I've been wanting to do the Bible readings though. It's a cool little, I guess it's a small butte out there. I'm not sure what that is. I don't know if I've been there before. have an idea what it might be, but sometimes I get disoriented and forget where I'm looking and stuff. But I generally know where I'm looking, and I can't really make out what that would be exactly, but I have a hunch I know what it is. John chapter 9. Now as Jesus was passing by, he saw a man blind from birth, and his disciples asked him, Rabbi, who sinned, this man or his parents, that he was born blind? Jesus answered, Neither this man nor his parents sinned, but this happened so that the works of God would be displayed in him. While it is daytime, we must do the works of him who sent me. Night is coming, when no one can work. While I am in the world, I am the light of the world. When Jesus had said this, he spit on the ground, made some mud, and applied it to the man's eyes. Then he told him, Go wash in the pool of Siloam, which means sent. So the man went and washed, and came back seeing. At this his neighbors and those who had formerly seen him begging began to ask, Isn't this the man who used to sit and beg? Some claimed that he was, but others said, No, he just looks like him. But the man kept saying, I am the one. How then were your eyes opened? They asked. He answered, The man they called Jesus made some mud and anointed my eyes, and he told me to go to Siloam and washed. So I went and washed and received my sight. Where is he? They asked. I do not know, he answered. They brought to the Pharisees the man who had been blind. Now the day on which Jesus had made the mud and opened his eyes was a Sabbath. So the Pharisees also asked him how he had received his sight. The man answered, He put mud on my eyes, and I washed, and now I can see. Because of this, some of the Pharisees said, This man is not from God, for he does not keep the Sabbath. But others said, How can a sinful man perform such signs? And there was division among them. So once again they asked the man who had been blind, What do you say about him, since it was your eyes he opened? He is a prophet, the man replied. The Jews still did not believe that the man had been blind and had received his sight until they summoned his parents and asked, Is this your son, the one you say was born blind? So how is it that he can now see? His parents answered, We know he is our son, and we know he was born blind. But how he can now see or who opened his eyes, we do not know. Ask him. He is old enough to speak for himself. His parents said this because they were afraid of the Jews, for the Jews had already determined that anyone who confessed Jesus as the Christ would be put out of the synagogue. That was why his parents said, He is old enough, ask him. So a second time they called for the man who had been blind and said, Give glory to God. We know that this man is a sinner. He answered, Whether he is a sinner, I do not know. There is one thing I do know. I was blind, but now I see. What did he do to you? They asked. How did he open your eyes? He replied, I already told you, and you did not listen. Why do you want to hear it again? Do you also want to become his disciples? Then they heaped insults on him and said, You are his disciple. We are disciples of Moses. We know that God spoke to Moses, but we do not know where this man is from. That is remarkable indeed, the man said. You do not know where he is from, and yet he opened my eyes. We know that God does not listen to sinners, but he does listen to the one who worships him and does his will. Never before has anyone heard of opening the eyes of a man born blind. If this man were not from God, he could do no such thing. They replied, "You were born in utter sin, and you are instructing us?" And they threw him out. When Jesus heard that they had thrown him out, he found the man and said, "Do you believe in the Son of Man?" "Who is he, sir?" he replied. "Tell me, so that I may believe in him." "You have already seen him," Jesus answered. "He is the one speaking with you." "Lord, I believe," he said, and he worshipped Jesus. Then Jesus declared, "For judgment I have come into this world, so that the blind may see, and those who see may become blind." Some of the Pharisees who were with him heard this, and they asked him, "Are we blind too?" "If you were blind," Jesus replied, "you would not be guilty of sin. But since you claim you can see, your guilt remains." All right, that's it for today's readings, I think. Let me get up and look around a bit. I want to see. Actually, I can just look at my map, I guess. Let's see. Yeah, I'm super far from the top. I've barely gone anywhere. It would be a super long hike to climb to the top. And while I would enjoy that, and I was kind of planning to do that, I also didn't expect to see cool places along the way. I mean, that's not true. I knew there'd be places to stop, but I didn't really think I'd stop for so long. But I enjoyed this spot so much, I kind of just got carried away with doing nothing and relaxing, so no regrets. Ugh. I think I'll probably head out, though. I could actually do a couple more readings because it's starting to cool down a little bit, so the sun probably won't fry my phones quite as bad, but I think I've done enough at this point. Plus I can get back at a reasonable time. I've been doing a lot of this sunset stuff and staying out till it gets dark, and I really enjoy that. The sunsets are cool, but I don't know, sometimes I feel like I should get home at a reasonable time, and I think I'll do that today. This is a great spot, though. It's really nice. I probably won't do a lot of repeat locations unless there's new angles that I haven't taken advantage of, and there's a ton of angles here, but I can't just I could, but I don't really want to do like a ton of readings in the same spot, because I'm looking for variety throughout this reading project. I think it would be more interesting that way. So, but if that wasn't the case and I just wanted to be outside, didn't really care where it was, then I would probably come back here again because it's pretty nice. It's one of the nicer spots I've done a reading from. Just not necessarily like more scenic than like that last place I was at. I think the last place was insane, super scenic, but more scenic than here probably. But in this case, it's more about the layout of the place. All right, let me start packing up. There's a nice angle to the left of where I'm currently showing, but there's not really anywhere to sit over there. It's like kind of a slope. And I've generally decided this, I could do a bunch of streams where I just show scenery, and I'm not in the frame, but I've generally decided to be in the frame most or all the time. I don't know. It's just, I don't know if I have a specific reason for that other than just I'm a live streamer and it's what I'm doing, but make it more human, interactive. Not that, I get a lot of interactions, but just the idea of it. That's the general idea anyway. I wish there was a way to have chat on a different screen or something. Like every platform is kind of isolated with the chat as far as you can't see what other people are saying on other platforms unless I show it on the screen like that. But I don't want to show it on the screen when I'm reading, so it's kind of annoying. Somebody needs to come up with some clever solution for that specific scenario. I could actually write a script myself that does that. Write it with AI basically. I could make a website that compiles all the chat together, because with Social Stream, which is the chat program I'm using, you can actually send it to a external server. So I could make a website that shows chat on all the platforms and just tell people if they want to see it, they can visit that. But of course nobody would actually do it, but at least it would provide the option, I guess. I've thought about that, but I just feel like if I was a more successful or popular streamer, I would probably bother to do stuff like that. But I feel like spending a bunch of time making stuff that no one's going to use is not time well spent. Alright, let me get the rest of my stuff. Let's see. I don't know, I guess I could end the stream or walk around for a minute just to show all the options. I can at least show these butterflies, maybe. Oops. We'll just end the stream here. Cool direction I could show, but there's not really anywhere to sit over there. It's just kind of a drop off. I mean, I could sit down there on that rock, but I couldn't really show the whole scene very well. But yeah, here's that sick place too. I guess I could show kind of what I was talking about with the gear situation. It's really nice. Got these 3 giant boulders with fairly flat tops that I have all my stuff sitting on. And just got the tripod in the middle of them. It's totally shaded in here. I've got like tables to, spread out my stuff. It's pretty nice. Should be a good spot to like build some kind of shelter or something. But I guess I'll head out. Thanks again for joining me. Anybody that was lurking or dropped by earlier or watches these later, perhaps. One of these days, wow, look at all those butterflies. One of these days I'll get caught up. Well, actually I won't really get caught up, but I'll get more of these videos on my second channel, which is WordHike. It's on YouTube and Rumble and Odyssey. Just for all the edited out or edited Bible readings. Anyway, I'll catch y'all later.